I was 16 when we moved, again, into a former model home. I had decent grades at my former school and hoped to make good grades at my new one. Everyone was friendly, especially those in my drama class. I met 2 girls who were also new. The 3 of us became close friends. I loved reading, music, fashion, and hanging out with my girlfriends. I was a virgin and told every boy I went with I was waiting for marriage before having sex. I played tennis in junior high and lettered in high school. I was number 3 on the varsity team. I could never beat 2 of the other girls. During those years, my great-grandmother Estelle passed away. My parents had moved some of her old books into what we had called the game room, a garage converted into an air-conditioned, carpeted room. One book was on casting spells and another on interpreting dreams. We assumed the books were purchased in bulk at a garage sale, but we recently discovered an Order of the Eastern Star pentagram pin that likely belonged to Estelle. Also, I recently found a large box of old photos, newspaper clippings, and Masonic information that appears to have belonged to Estelle and some other family members. Her father, my great-great-grandfather, Benjamin F. Busby Jr., was a 32nd or 33rd degree Freemason, and her second husband, my step-great-grandfather, was also a Freemason. Her first husband, my great-grandfather, Llewellyn F. Cody, was a pastor she chose to divorce. His father, my other great-great-grandfather, Dr. Lewis O. F. Cody, became a Baptist pastor after being locked in a dungeon at a Catholic seminary. He was called Cody the Fearless according to J.D. Gray, who once served as the president of the Southern Baptist Convention. Occult practices and Christianity seem to have both influenced my family. I had always loved to read, especially Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. I also enjoyed reading a college psychology book that I picked up from someone. I was fascinated with the human brain and how it worked, so I was curious about the book on casting spells. When I first opened it, I saw a repulsive goat image, but I kept reading. I couldn't imagine someone wanting something so badly that they would dig up a grave and put things in their mouth that were grown out of a dead body. I used the book for a school book report because I thought it was strange, but I had zero interest in spells. I also never liked participating in slumber party games like Bloody Mary or trying to make others levitate by chanting phrases. After reading the spell book, weird things happened in our house and cars. Random items would disappear and then reappear. My mother felt someone tap her on the back of her shoulder in the car. I felt someone touch me on the back of my shoulder in the kitchen. Also, my mom went to take a nap one afternoon and physically felt something pushing her through the mattress. She said it looked like a monster, but she wasn't sure if she had only dreamed about it. My friend Janice was with me on another night when my skirt disappeared. Because we were going out that night, we cleaned my room, looking for it. We picked everything up before we went downstairs to eat. After dinner, we ran upstairs to my room to see the skirt spread out on the carpet. On another day, Janice asked me to pick up one of her friends, Tara, to take her home. Later, Tara told Janice that she sensed an entity riding in the car with us and asked where I lived. We found out that Tara's dad had walked through our house when it was a model home. He wanted to talk with me. The next thing I knew, I was on the phone talking to Tara's dad, who told me that we had 2 entities living in our home. One was an old man, and the other was a girl my age who was jealous of me. He said I was experiencing things disappearing and reappearing because I had opened a door by reading the spell book. I tried to block everything out and focus on other things like my social life. Many of my friends did not have to be home by a specific time, so I began coming home after my curfew because I wanted to stay out with them. Most of the time, I would call my mom and tell her that I was running late, and she would sit on the stairs waiting for me to walk through the door on the nights that I didn't. I wish I had understood how much she loved me and wasn't trying to control me. I also started doing other things like smoking cigarettes. I had never done drugs and was still a virgin, so it was a definite change when I began smoking. It was occasional initially, but a few years later I was up to a half pack a day. Since I was on the tennis team in high school, I wouldn't smoke in the designated smoking area for fear that my coach would see me. However, I did smoke a few cigarettes with a girlfriend in a school bathroom, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I mainly did it out of peer pressure. Some Sundays I would borrow my parents' station wagon or Monte Carlo and drive my friends around Bear Creek Park to check out the guys because it was the thing to do back then. One Sunday, I locked eyes with Anthony, who was standing at a corner in the park. He was tall, dark-haired, green-eyed, clean-cut, and well-dressed. He smiled, and I smiled right back. I thought it was love at first sight. He approached my car window and asked if I would give him a ride to the store to use the payphone. I agreed to take him. He rode in the back seat of the car. Once we got to the store, he asked me for my phone number. He was a year older than me. He had just moved to Houston from another state to live with his mother. His dad had passed away. He was no longer in high school. He called me that day and we soon became a couple.